about a year and a few months ago, my family, we moved from Arden to Mills River, okay? We moved out there, and what that entailed was when I left the office for 8 years, 7.5 years, when I left the office and went over to the intersection, went to the light at Clayton Road and Long Shoals, for 7.5 years, I did the same thing. I took a left. I would take a left. I would take a left. Day after day after day, I would take a left. And I would take a left. Why? Because that's where my home was. But now my home had changed. And so when I came to that same intersection, instead of taking a left, I was supposed to take a right. And so many times, I would not be thinking or be thinking about something else and just put it in automatic, and I would go up there and I'd get about halfway down the hill and go, you know, that little Christian cussing, and flip it back around. I'm like, man, I got to go back the other way. Okay, so for like 6 weeks, I had to cognitively tell myself, okay, listen, take a right. You don't live there anymore. You live here. All right, don't turn left here. You don't live there anymore. And when we moved out there, it changed actually the way that you intersected with a lot of stuff. The way I intersected with 26, the way we went over to a friend's house, went to a different restaurant, all that stuff was changed because we lived somewhere different. And so over and over and over again, it was basically, I don't live there anymore. I live there. Okay, that's not my house. That is now my house, all right? And so when you talk about the renewal of the mind, what you're doing and by the way, the Bible says it a lot of different ways. It says renewing of the mind. Paul says in 2 Corinthians, he says, take every thought captive to the obedience of Christ. There's all those words. Nothing changes until the thinking changes. Understand that? Okay, change does not happen until we think differently about it. And when you and I start thinking about it differently, you know what? I don't see that the way. I understand if I turn left there, I don't go there anymore. I don't live there anymore. Last time I went down that road, I had to turn around, and it cost me a lot of time and money because that's the wrong way to go. That's renewing of the mind. Renewing of the mind is, I'm going to watch what I'm thinking to make sure that it lines up with where I now live. So when you pull up to that intersection and something in you is beckoning you to turn left, you're like, that's not where I live anymore. That's not true. It tells me I live down there. It feels almost uncontrollable for me to want to take a left, but I don't live there anymore. That's untrue. The true way to go, the best way to go, the blessed way to go is right. Because I don't live left anymore, I live right. So again, I pull up to that light, I feel that pull. You feel that pull of greed, you feel that pull of anger, you feel that pull of immorality, and you're like, you know what? Death is left, life is right. That's what you're saying. Death is left. Last time I went down that road, I didn't like what I found down that road. I found guilt and shame and remorse and all that. I found that down. I don't want to go down that road anymore. Last time I took a right, you know what? I found life and joy and blessing and happiness, and that's the way I'm going to go. So what do? When your mind's renewed, you're like, you know what? The gospel's changing your hearts. It's working on your desires, and then the Bible's starting to change the head, and you're like, I'm going to take a right.